Good morning, XRP community. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Let's dive into the latest updates for the cryptocurrency market, focusing on what's happening with XRP today. It's a big week for the United States. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is scheduled to speak today, and we're also expecting other important events in the coming days. This upcoming week is shaping up to bring increased volatility across the crypto markets. But before we get into all the details, let me show you the current state of the market so you can see where things stand with me. Bitcoin is sitting at around $107,000. Ethereum has slipped below $2,500, and XRP is trading at $2.29. We're seeing corrections pretty much across the board in the market, including XLM and Hedera Hashgraph. Both of these have dipped slightly, XLM dropping from 0.29 to 0.28, and Hedera from 0.19 to 0.18. So overall, we can say that the market is holding a similar position to the last few days. Ongoing corrections, some volatility, but no major breakthroughs yet. Of course, it's important to highlight the difference, right? Just a few days ago, XRP was trading above $2.40, and now we're at $2.29. But this is part of the game. When the Fed speaks, markets move. And with Jerome Powell's speech scheduled for today, plus the events coming next week, we can expect more volatility ahead. So let's break it all down and analyze what's going on. Before we get into the full details of today's video, if you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. Smash that like button if you're enjoying the content, because it really helps support the channel. And down in the comments, feel free to leave your thoughts or questions with a hashtag XRP. By the way, just a quick reminder, there's an amazing book about XRP on Amazon. It's called XRP, The Silent Revolution. It's a great resource if you want to understand more about Ripple and how XRP is shaping the future of global finance. You'll find a link in the description. Go check it out. All right, let's get into the news. Yesterday evening, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent came forward to reassure the markets. He stated that the United States is strongly supporting digital assets and that approving the bill for stablecoins is just the beginning. He hinted that there will be further regulatory developments, not just for stablecoins, but also for cryptocurrencies in general. So far, the only solid regulation we're seeing is for stablecoins. Remember, the Genius Act for stablecoins was recently approved in the Senate. But the full regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies is still missing. Meanwhile, Bessent's comments seem to be an effort to calm things down a bit, given the market was still dealing with corrections and dips. That said, it's fair to say his remarks didn't have much of an impact. Markets remain uncertain. Now, today at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, will deliver a speech. We're expecting volatility not just for XRP in the crypto market, but also for the stock market, equities, and pretty much every financial sector. Everyone's waiting to see whether Powell will hint at interest rate cuts. This speech is going to be crucial. It could give us an idea of how the U.S. economy is doing and whether we can expect a rate cut in June. On the flip side, if there's no sign of rate cuts, that could shake things up, especially with Trump pushing for a 50% tariff on Europe starting June 1st. So as we approach June 1st, we can expect a lot of market volatility and investor fear, unless Trump comes out and announces that he's scaling back the tariffs, though removing them entirely seems unlikely. So the recent market drop is directly tied to this trade war narrative. When Trump made that announcement about 50% tariffs starting in June, the market reacted immediately, and you can see how the chart started dropping right there, exactly when the trade war talk reignited. Looking ahead to next week, it's packed. We've got Federal Reserve officials giving speeches. U.S. markets are closed on Monday. Then Wednesday brings the release of the FOMC minutes. Thursday, we get the second estimate of U.S. GDP growth for Q1. And on Friday, we'll see the PCE inflation data for April. So yeah, it's going to be a week full of macroeconomic data, key updates, and market-moving news. It's important to pay attention to all of this because it will shape how June unfolds. Whether we see recovery or deeper corrections will depend on these events and what the Fed decides. Moving on, let's talk about the XRP ETF. According to the latest market prediction data, there's an 83% probability that the XRP spot ETF will be approved in 2025. That's a pretty high chance, and while we've seen some ETF approvals delayed or denied, that doesn't mean the XRP ETF won't eventually get the green light this year. The process takes time. Yes, the decisions on XRP spot ETFs have been delayed in the US, but that doesn't mean they're off the table for 2025, and this is really interesting for several ISO 20022 compliant projects, like Velo and others, that are tokenizing assets with the help of BlackRock. Let's look at the state of tokenized treasury bonds right now. BlackRock's BUIDL fund is way ahead, leading with $70.09 billion in total assets. You can see it here. It's the brown line, absolutely dominating compared to the others. This is about tokenizing real-world assets. Remember, Velo, another project built on the Stellar blockchain, is integrating BlackRock's BUIDL tokenized treasury fund. So Velo is working directly with BlackRock to tokenize real-world assets. And this partnership is helping to improve transaction liquidity and yield opportunities for over 1 million users in Southeast Asia through Securitize. With BlackRock's backing, this initiative is strengthening the DeFi ecosystem in the region. So yeah, we're talking about tokenizing a massive amount of value, $70.09 billion, and who knows, Velo might get a small piece of that pie. This is definitely something for Velo holders to keep an eye on. Bottom line, BlackRock's BUIDL fund is now the leading player in the tokenization of real-world assets, and they're tokenizing everything. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.